Who doesn't like cheese and potatoes? I mean really cheesy potatoes. I'm Tess, and I'm making something really good and cheesy called Aligot. Stay tuned. I saw this recipe in an older cookbook and knew I had to give it a try. This is my first time making Aligot, and I must say it turned out awesome. I hope I am pronouncing Aligot correctly. You can find this recipe in the list of ingredients in the description box below. I'm starting by cooking some potatoes that I peeled and quartered, placing them in some cold water and bringing up to a boil. Going to cook them for about 20 minutes or until they're fork tender. And then I'm turning off the heat, draining the potatoes and adding them back into the same pan. The recipe calls for Yukon Gold potatoes, but I have russet potatoes. And to the potatoes, I'm adding some salt and pepper. Here I'm using white pepper because I simply don't want black specks in my Aligot. You can use what you have. Adding some chunks of butter and 2 cloves of finely minced crushed garlic. Yes, going in with a cup of heavy cream. To start, this recipe is definitely not fat-free. I have my hand mixer and I'm just going to mix the potatoes as smooth as I can. I will have some smaller chunks of potatoes, but that is okay. You can put the cooked potatoes through a ricer. The mashed potatoes look like they are ready to eat already, but we're not done yet. Now comes the good part, cheese, and lots of cheese. I'm turning my heat on to low. I have an electric stove and I have my setting between a 2 and a 3. Here I'm adding some grated mozzarella cheese, followed by some Gruyere cheese. In total for this recipe, I'm using 1 pound of cheese. You may want to add more or less depending on the amount of potatoes you have, and you'll see what I mean by that later. I'm adding the cheese into 3 to 4 batches, and in between I'm stirring the cheese into the potatoes. The cheese will melt into the potatoes and will eventually form this beautiful, elastic, cheesy consistency. If you like this recipe, please remember to like and subscribe for future video recipes. You can also find me on Facebook and Tess Cooks For You blog. Feel free to share this recipe and my channel with your friends and family. A little on the history of this side dish, Aligot. It is a recipe from the south of France. It is simply cheese melted into mashed potatoes. Traditionally, Aligot is made from a French cheese, but can be substituted with Gruyere cheese and mozzarella cheese to get a similar nutty taste and a melty, elastic texture. As you can see, the texture is changing. It smells wonderful. I'm definitely getting a workout with all the stirring. You want to keep the mixture moving so all the cheese is melted evenly into the potatoes and it does not burn. All in all, it took about 15 minutes for all the cheese to be incorporated and melted. Depending on the amount of potatoes and cheese you have, you may need to add more cream and just add a little at a time, like a tablespoon or so. You want the end result for the Aligot to be a flowing, elastic, cheesy consistency. Serving tonight with some of my oven-baked barbecue chicken and a side of peas and carrots. I must say the barbecue chicken was perfect with the Aligot. I will leave a link to my homemade baked barbecue chicken here and in the description box below. The Aligot turned out just awesome. As you can guess, it is rich, creamy, cheesy, and good. I can just imagine the Aligot along with a nice grilled steak. I hope you enjoyed this French Aligot recipe. Give it a try, and until next time, enjoy. And thanks so much for joining me here in my kitchen. You can subscribe here for my future video recipes, and remember to come visit me on Facebook. You never know what I might be cooking. Until next time, much love.